Hi, AJ Hartley here, novelist. Today, just that, because it's release day for Hideki Smith, The Demon Queller, a book which has been in the works for a long time, in some ways for decades. It's my 25th novel. It's the only book I will release this year, and it's a huge deal for me. And I want to tell you a little bit about it, tell you some about the events that are associated with it, including my DragonCon schedule, and why, since a lot of baby metal fans watch this channel, why, if you're a baby metal fan, you might connect with this book, and a few other details connected to it. So, let's go. So the story of Hideki Smith, it's about a mixed race Japanese-American family modeled on my own, who live in North Carolina, but who have to sort of reconnect with and wrestle with their cultural heritage to battle creatures from Japanese mythology which are emerging in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's technically a young adult book, but I would say it's suitable for anyone, say 11 and up, adults included, obviously. I'll include a little trailer for the book at the end of this video. I'll also post it separately. The book is out now. You can get it as an ebook for $4.99, for $14.99 in paperback, and for $25 in hardcover. And I would say get whatever format you like. I don't care. People often ask me where authors prefer you to buy their books. I would say get it wherever you like. If you use Amazon and things and those kind of services, great. If you have a good local independent bookstore that you like to use that. If you can get it in the library, use that. The only thing I would say is don't download it illegally. If you're a baby metal fan, I think there's a lot in this book that will please you. Not least because I was listening to baby metal a lot while I was writing it over the last few years. It's a story about Japanese mythology and yokai, particularly kitsune, but also oni, the scary version, not the catch me if you can version. And it's a story about some very baby metal themes: inclusivity, mutual support, community, about figuring out who you are and what you stand for, and then fighting for those things in the face of overwhelming odds. These are very baby metal ideas, and I even give the band a brief shout out in the book. So it's, this is not an official baby metal book, of course, but as a novel goes, it's clearly related and close. So yeah, that might appeal to you. It's also a very personal book for me. As I've been saying in a number of interviews, it emerged from a desire to tell a Japanese story, which I've been wrestling with for like 35 years, since the days when I first lived in Yamanashi. I tried several versions of this story unsuccessfully over the years, but it came into focus for me when I opted to set it here in the US rather than in Japan, and to center it on a fictionalized version of my son, and to get his input and my wife's input in telling this kind of story. So yeah, it's a fun, scary adventure story about battling monsters, but it's also a story about identity, community, family, and about how we define ourselves in relation to, and sometimes in opposition to, our heritage and the things that people expect of us. I don't think there are enough of these kinds of stories around. It's a book for anyone who feels like they don't quite fit in for any reason, and the constant toll that takes on you until you carve out your place in the world. And like the baby metal songs, ultimately I think it's a positive, uplifting kind of story. Yeah, so that's what it's about. And monsters, because monsters, especially Japanese monsters, are cool. So yeah, I really want people to read it. This is, after all, why writers write, to share their stories. It's not about money, which is just as well, because I'm not going to make any. And it's about feeling like you have, even for a few hours, connected with someone else, left them with something to think about and to enjoy. If I just wanted to write for myself, I'd keep a journal. I'd be a diarist. But I'm not. I'm a novelist, and that means I want my stories out in the world where people can find them. So if you do find it and you do read it, please share your responses anywhere. Here on YouTube, in reviews, on Goodreads or Amazon. Talk about it on Reddit. Post a TikTok video or a YouTube video, anything. And I'm sorry if this sounds like a hard sell, but communities like the one on this channel, however small it is, are literally the only way that the wider world will find out that this book exists. There are literally millions of books being published every year, more than ever before, and most of them vanish without trace. Only a tiny handful come close to selling more than a few thousand copies, and most sell, the vast majority sell in the hundreds or less. A book like this will have almost no presence in big chain stores because they're only taking a very, very small number of titles from the biggest publishers, and all the writers are getting screwed. So, both in the US and in the UK, the publishers of this book are small presses which don't have the massive resources for big marketing campaigns, and word of mouth is absolutely key. So please, please, if you read it and you like it, tell people. And if you read it and you don't like it, then my name is James Patterson. Anyway, yeah, but if you like it, recommend it to people. Give it as a gift. It's a fun, easy read, and I think it's the kind of book that even people who don't think of themselves as readers will connect with. Anyway, speaking of Baby Metal, I will be seeing them in Atlanta during Dragon Con, and this will actually be my first time at a Baby Metal show. I know that people think that's very strange since I've been talking about them here for 3 years. But yeah, for one reason or another, my schedules have never coincided with a time when I was able to just drop things and go see them. So I will be seeing them for the first time in Atlanta during Dragon Con. While I'm at Dragon Con, though, there will be no Baby Metal panel, unfortunately, this year, for reasons I don't completely understand, but whatever. I will be on 17 panels and events, and I'll include a link in the description to my full schedule so that you can check it out if you're going to be in the area. There are book club events centering on Hideki, but I'm also on a lot of panels and various other things. So if you're in Atlanta Labor Day weekend, come by along with the other 80,000 people who will be there. In the next month or so, there will be a lot of articles and interviews and various other bits of things connected to this book appearing online all over the place, beginning, I think, with a big idea post on John Scalzi's website, if you know him, the sci-fi author of Red Shirts, the Kaiju Preservation Society, and a lot of other things. So keep your eyes open for those. There'll be a lot of little extra insights into the book. My first official signing in the Charlotte area is at Park Road Books on September 16th. And then I'll probably be going to the UK. The UK edition, which looks a lot like the US edition, slightly smaller format. It's still a trade paperback, but it's a slightly different look. This will be coming out September 20th in the UK, and I'm hoping to do some events, at least in the Preston area, which is where I'm from. And that'll probably be late September, early October, when I know I'll post dates. And that's about it. I'm going to leave you with the little, somewhat amateurish book trailer, which I'll also be posting separately. And please, please, please check out this book. If you haven't read for a while, this is your chance to reconnect with an incredibly rewarding, peaceful activity. Thanks, of course, to my patrons and to everybody who has supported this channel over the last few years. If you've got anything out of this channel over the last few years, please consider getting the book. The channel's not monetized. I don't get anything from it otherwise. Part of the reason I do this is to support and to promote my writing. So please check it out. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Welcome to Portersville, North Carolina, home to one Japanese American family. High school students Caleb and Emily are too busy trying to fit in to care much about their family history. But strange things have been seen in the mountains. Deadly things. Things bound to a heritage Caleb and Emily know nothing about. If they're gonna become the heroes Portersville so desperately needs, they'll have to begin by figuring out who they really are, and fast. Something terrible has been trapped under the town for decades, and now it's found its way out and wants revenge. Hideki Smith, Demon Queller, the new release from New York Times best-selling author A.J. Hartley and family, available wherever books are sold right now.